Hey, my name's Christine, and I'm going to be responding to the TED Talk by Brene Brown on the power of vulnerability. So I want to start off by saying that before this, I did not know who Brene Brown was, but apparently she's pretty popular, and it's funny because just the other day I was at Barnes & Noble after having watched this video. I saw her books everywhere. Her name was on everything, it seemed like, and then I turned on Netflix and her name was up there as well, so she's definitely a lot more popular than I had originally known. But after watching this and doing a little bit of research on her, I definitely understand why she has so many followers and is loved by so many. I really enjoyed watching her and hearing what she had to say. I think more than anything, what she's talking about in regards to vulnerability and the extents that we go as human beings to avoid facing or avoid being vulnerable is something that every single person deals with, and the fact that she's kind of bringing it to the light and making it known that everybody faces it is comforting. She definitely did a really good job establishing her credibility, both in acknowledging that she has worked for so many years and done a lot of research in the field of social work and been educated in it, but also just the fact that her talk was on vulnerability, and within that, she herself was being vulnerable, and she shared a lot about her own story and her own process of how she's always wanted to control things, and she's realized that with her research having originally only planned to be a year-long research project turned into 6+ years, and just realizing that her idea of being able to control everything is not correct. This is kind of a side note, but I really like that she described social work as leaning into the discomfort, and also just how her entire experience is exactly a testament to that. I also think that she did a really good job of keeping her audience on the same page as her as she went about, just in giving definition to the things that she was naming, such as shame being the fear of disconnection, and courage being the ability to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. I think that made it really clear what the point that she was trying to get across was. And then going back to the fact that she brought vulnerability into the light and then started talking about how we as humans so inherently just tend to numb things in order to not feel those or to face vulnerability and being vulnerable. I think that even probably sparked feelings of vulnerability within the audience. I know it was something that can be attributed to everybody's life, and even watching it myself felt almost feelings of vulnerability. In a sense, I think she called a lot of people out, but I think she was the perfect person to do it. I think she did a really good job with it. The one thing that I wish that she would have talked a little bit more about, though, would be her breakdown, or what she or her therapist labeled as a spiritual awakening, because she went on to talk a lot about interconnectedness between humans and how that's why the reason that we're all here, we're all longing for connection with each other, but she didn't really talk much about spirituality. And doing other research on her definition of spirituality is recognizing and celebrating that we are all inextricably connected to each other by a power greater than all of us, and that our connection to that power and to one another is grounded in love and compassion. And that may be a definition that's come about later in her research and her work, but it is something that I wish that she would have touched on a little bit more. And that might be because spirituality is just a really big part of my own life, and I would have liked to, or I think I would have felt a little bit more connected to her and what she had to say had she touched on it, but what are you gonna do? I will say, though, I think the other reason that I wish she would have talked about spirituality more, is just because I did really like what she said about how when we make things that are uncertain certain, she gave the example of religion, and I agree with that a lot, and I wish she would have gone into more depth with that. But as a whole, I really liked her and what she had to say. I really like this video, and it does make me want to go read her books or find out more about her. So yeah, thanks for watching.